So let's start with like the lighting, indirect lighting. So we have something that's called IBL. We used that last week, and then we have physical sun and sky. We're not using this feature. So the image-based lighting is a sphere that Maya is going to create, a node sphere, and then we're going to throw an HDR image, a high dynamic range image, which is used as a light, and it's going to be seen in reflections. So let me create one, and I'm going to do like a some sort of this kind of landscape. And let's look at this for a second. So now it creates it. And you can see it. It's a little blurry. Let me try another one. It's kind of the same. So let me just so let me try to render that. Okay, so we have like we're not going to use that background necessarily. We're going to use this for now, just in the view. And let's try to make some bouncing. Let's say there's like some bouncing light and comes into the house. So the first thing you want to do is to, okay, the IBL now should be seen in reflections. And as you can see here, it's already being reflected. And I know this is a very small thumbnail, but you know, we're good with that for now. So I'm going to create, the second thing you want to do is bring the source, the sun. Where is it coming from? So a source for the light. So I'm going to create directional light. Basically, I'm going to break the rules here because the image shows that the sun is coming from the back and the shadow. So I'm gonna, you know, assume that it's just directed towards the window. So I'm going to, this is a directional light. It doesn't matter how big or where it is. It only matters how it's aiming. So that's the only thing you need to know. A directional light is going to be a sunlight. So I'm going to name it as a sunlight. So that's our source, and the color is white, and there's an intensity. There's no decay. The directional light is it's a pretty minimal light. So I'm gonna go ahead, and now for the sake of comparing, you want to do that from now on. You want to start holding the frames, like saving your frames in the render window, and then render the next one. And we're rendering small thumbnails. And let's see what we get. So we get like the shadows. Now we can see before is this, and after. Now I'm getting like a light from exterior. Now this is a directional light. This is a direct illumination. There's no bouncing of photons, nothing yet. So that's a good start. I might want to blur the shadows, but we're gonna do it later. So that's the image I have so far. So now what I'm gonna do is save the scene, and I'm going to introduce an indirect lighting technique, which is called final gather. So nothing is working right now in terms of like the light bouncing photons, or So I'm going to start with final gather. If I do that, what I should see. So the next step. So that's how you do the lighting. You start with like a directional, the source light, any source. The most powerful light in your scene, what is it? You have to think, is it the sun? Is it like a light inside? Are we doing a night scene? Are we doing a day scene? So in this case, I want to do an evening light. So I have this. And now I turn on Final Gather so I can get indirect illumination. So everything is going to start, and as you'll see, Maya is going to start picking up points everywhere in the scene and bouncing light back. So it will assist the shadow area. Now, we might not see much in effect because we don't have we're not getting enough light inside the space. So as you can see, let me see. Oh, let me just do something first. Let me I'm gonna turn it off, and I'm gonna re-render the previous one. I forgot to I wanna keep all the frames so I can compare every each one of them. Okay, so I'm gonna save this and then go to the turn on Final Gather and render the new one. So I'll have 3 frames to compare. Not much is happening here. We'll see. Maybe there's a little. Okay, so now I'm gonna go back. You'll notice something happening. You'll notice like a little, like from a complete dark, we go to a little bit of light, just a little bit. So now what we need to do is, let's say I'm gonna do something that only affects the IBL. So I'm gonna go, the IBL, this sphere that we created, is this mental ray IBL1. And this is how we brought it in. So I'm gonna go down to the hardware and go to the color gain and tell the IBL to increase its brightness by using that balance here. So I'm gonna kind of exaggerate for a second, and I'm gonna keep this frame. So I want the brightness of this sphere to, like, I increase the brightness of the sphere. So let's see what happens if we do that. All the colors now have changed, obviously, and it's actually affecting the space more. So actually, I didn't want to do that. Let me just go back for a second. But you can see now that it's like actually throwing all this light in there. So we don't want to overdo that. So that's one way to do this. I'm gonna go back and just bring it down. But the best way to bring some light in the scene is to actually start using global illumination. How do we do that? So I'm gonna go. So what we're left off is from here. Let's say this is our correct frame, and I'm gonna create this light, this point light inside the scene that will add photons in the scene. So that I'm gonna create a point light. So the point light is just a 360-degree light, and it does matter where this is placed, unlike the direction light, which doesn't really matter. So I'm going to place it somewhere, somewhere probably here in the back, so it will bounce light from, let's say, the sun is coming in. And one thing that I should do is, oh, this is all. Okay. I think it's fine. We're gonna. So this light here, I'm gonna go to the attribute editor and look at this light. So a point light shape. So this is the attribute. So it has a white color. So now this light, we don't want to use it as a light source of in a usual way. So I'm gonna kill the intensity. I'm gonna go 0. So it's completely black here. I don't want to use any decay, so I'm gonna go straight down to the mental ray area, caustics and global illumination. So I want this to be a photon emitter only. Like, it will emit points in the space, and all these points will have energy. So each one of them. So I'm going to say emit photons, and it has like a photon intensity and it also has like a global illumination photon number, but it's blanked out. You can't touch it right now. It's not activated. So you have to deselect the light, go to the go and turn on global illumination. If you don't turn global illumination, the photon energy is not going to be calculated. So you just close that now and go back to grab that point light, and now you see that this is on. Now 10,000 photons is not enough. I'm going to do 100,000. The scene scale, I don't remember if I scaled the scene, if it's big or small, I don't remember now, but the scene scale should be like normal size, like a life size, and the intensity might be not that much. So I'm going to go back to my bookmark, camera view 1, and go and render, see if we have anything, if something changed. If nothing is changing, the first thing you have to think is, oh, the photons are not even working. They're dying. They have, they're not even, actually they are working. I can see something happening already. And we don't want too much. We want sort of a subtle effect. So we want like, because we're going to use, is the directional light working now? Okay, so the directional light stopped working. Let me increase the intensity of the directional light. Go ahead and render this. So I'm like, let me pause the video. I have a problem with the directional light. Let me just figure that out quickly.